Hey, good morning. Today is February 2nd, and I came out to the farm to charge the batteries. It's been going on the third day of some icy storms and stuff, and so the batteries are starting to get low because you just see on the solar panels that there's a sheet of ice on there, but they were still at 40%. Going to be gone this weekend, so I want to just top them off before I leave. If you look here, this is this bamboo. It's just all falling over. So a lot of ice, So I don't know if you can see on my fence, I ended up using those fence panels to put up at the 8-foot mark. So that got a little gap there I still got to fix, so that I keep the deer out of my garden this summer. So I did that all the way around. I still need to fix the gate here, so this will be fencing on the either side, and then I'll have a nice little gate right here to lead down in there. So I still got to build that, and then I don't know if you can see it on the GoPro, but over there on the edge of the greenhouse on either side, there's a hole there that I still got to fix, but it's coming together. I got some nails. I'm going to nail everything up, then I'll take those straps off, and then it'll be 8 foot, so hopefully it'll keep everything out. I know February 1st, which is yesterday, is kind of the time when we need to start thinking of some crops to put down. Oh, this dog, he just loves to play ball. So broccoli, I know there's a couple others, I can't remember what they are, but I got to get my hydroponics going. So hydroponics is something that we had done in our garage for a couple years, and then I decided I wanted to do that out here, and then that way I can get all my seeds started. So the way it kind of works, let me kind of walk you through it, and then I'm going to build it. You have these buckets. Okay, so I'll face you this way. So these are called Beto buckets or Dutch buckets, but they have that little valve opening right there. It comes inside, yeah, like that. Okay, and then you have some type of little meshing to go over it, and then you fill it with these clay pebbles is what you do. So I have multiple of these, still has remnants from its last plant. Okay, then what you do is you take your bucket and you drill a hole in here. This is like a 1-inch hole, and then the bucket actually sets right in that hole. Okay, so when this fills with water, okay, it will actually only let the bucket fill up to like this level right here. So there'll be a little bit of water down in here, but the rest of it's going to drip back into this pipe, and then this pipe will go back into your main water supply. So our main water supply that I've been using was this little 35-gallon container I got from the Tractor Supply. Yeah, so we use pumps. So this pump will go down in the water, okay, and then this piping is what will hook to it, and then this isn't what this was used for, but this, you'll have the pipe coming along, and you'll have these little doodads here that go into the pipe, and then you have this tubing, and then each little bucket will have its own little tubing that will feed each plant with water. So my plan is to run the piping all the way down here, all the way to the corner, back all the way around, and then to here. And I'll drill a hole in this table. I'll have the water trough underneath here. And then the cool thing about the water is that you can add additives to it that'll help the plants grow better, whatever they need. So you can do that as well. And then the tubing here will actually come up, and I'll have a spout going to each of one of the buckets so that they can get water. And then the greenhouse will get the sunlight during the day and the nice temperatures, and then yeah, so actually once that grows, I'm turning around here. So once the plants take off, I'll start them as seedlings in the house, and then I will put them in, let's see, I don't know if I have, yeah, so you can choose whichever size you want, but we have these little guys here, okay, and then you put rock wool in this, and then this will actually fit down into that, and then you'll have your tube going right to it. So pretty easy, but that's really just kind of how I do hydroponics. It's not complicated, it's pretty simple. There is a little bit of an investment to get all the stuff, but once you get it, you can just keep using it over and over and over. So like I said, we had this stuff growing in our garage. We had all kinds of stuff growing in there, and we used artificial lighting. Looked like we were having a pot farm, but it wasn't it at all. But it would grow really, really good. So my plan is I want to get this up and running so that I can start getting some seeds started, so that after the last frost I can get stuff. The stuff will be ready to start planting. But I got some work to do, so I'll keep you updated. Okay. Up. Let that dry. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and do this one. So the size of the bit for this is 1 1/4. I just found the one that fit. So that's this guy right here. So I gotta find the innards that go to it laying around somewhere, but that will work for that. And this isn't pressurized at all, so it doesn't have to be like overly done. Pipe has ice on it. I should wait it a little bit longer. Okay, so that goes there. Okay, so this really took about 10 minutes to build the pipe to go around, but I ran out of pipe. I didn't measure it, I was just guesstimating, so I need just another little, actually I don't really need much at all, because I'm gonna probably use this somehow. But what I thought was, when I put this, I want the plant to have room to grow both directions, so I didn't want it up against the wall. I didn't want it out too far, so I tried to kind of put it about 10 inches from the edge, and then that way. The mistake I made when I did it at home is I put the buckets right next to each other, and then the plants got so big that they were interfering. So I want to give, you know, probably 10 inches between each bucket, just so the plants have room to get all the light and everything that they can. So I probably have a sliver of this pipe somewhere here. I'm going to find that, get this done, get the hole drilled, get the water bucket in, and then I got to drill all the holes in the pipe, and then run the tubing, and then it's done. So the other thing I didn't tell you is that when I have the pumps, so I have several different ones, but this pump will submerge into the water tank, and then I have it set, not these timers, but I have it set to run on a timer, so that way it'll water it every day. It'll just turn on for 15 minutes, water all the plants, all the excess water will drain down into the bucket. The only thing that really changes with that is if the plants are really growing like crazy and they're using a lot of water, and then you got to make sure that you have enough water in your bucket to keep them watered every day. So but that's not hard. Every couple of days you just have to add more water to it, and then you're good to go. So I will come back to this. I can't finish it today, but I got it started, which makes me feel good. And then I'll be back with the other stuff that I need to finish it up, and then hopefully we can get some seeds started and start getting our garden going. But yeah, so I think we're gonna have a banner year. It's gonna be good. The chickens I've ordered, I don't know, I didn't tell you about that, but I ordered just 7 chickens. I ordered 6, they send you 7 in case one dies. But the plan is I would like to put the chickens right here and have them free and running loose in here all day long until I start getting stuff planted. And then I'll put up a fence right here, and this will be their little chicken run, all this area. And then I do want to still use that as a composting pile over there. And then I actually wanted to have composting right here, and then have a water reservoir right here with the water coming off the back of the greenhouse, feeding water into the reservoir just for extra water storage. But I think that'll be nice for them. Have a nice little spot here, and then they'll be safe too. I have to fix the fences where it's a little bit high, but they'll be safe from predators as well. Extra layer of caution. So. All right, good morning, guys. It's February 9th, I think, today, and I want to show you what I did in the sunroom here, or the greenhouse. That's what it's called. All right, let me turn you around. I was able to, I know it's messy, get the rest of the pipe I needed, and I have this coming down into this bucket. I have a pump down in the bucket, comes up, and then I just use these electrical little fasteners to fasten the pipe, going all the way around to the end. And then on the end I just used a clamp here to close it off. Now on the buckets I used a 1/4 inch bit to drill all the holes in these, so that goes all the way down. Now I only drilled the number that I needed because over here I ran out of buckets, so there's no point in drilling the holes there. On these I just kind of spaced it where the plants would actually have a little bit of room in here. But the next thing to do is to use these little guys here. You can see that. So I need to poke a hole in here, and then the tube will actually go and feed the plants with the water. The other things that are needed are these little things, are aerators. So you have the aerator hooked to this guy with the tube, and you put that in the water to keep your water aerated, and just that tubing down there is what I'll use for that. Timers are needed. Use different ones. These are really simple. I have some digital ones too, but the timers will click all the water on automatically so that it'll water the plants automatically every day. So basically once you set it and you go, I mean, it's just the plants, once they're put in the buckets in the rock wool, you set the timer and then you can kind of forget about it. In the past I put a little bit of plant nutrients in the water, so they're getting some nutrients from there. Online they're saying that you don't really have to do that, but I've never had any trouble with this growing. The only concern that I have is it's February and we still have a little bit of time before it actually warms up, so I don't know that. I'm going to start some plants today, but I'm not quite sure how well they'll fare when it gets really cold out. I know we have some days where it's going to drop down to 25, but inside this building I'm not sure how much that'll affect it. Obviously it'll get cold in here, but we'll see how it does. But these will usually take off in just a few days, so it doesn't take very long to see the results. All right, so I'm going to get hooking up my water, And then I got to get some water in this bucket and get the aerator going, and then make sure my pumps still work, and then I'll show you where I'm at. Okay. So I pre-drilled these. Makes it a little bit easier. And then I'm using these 1/4 inch barbed connectors, so they're sharp on both ends. So then I push this in here. I don't know if you can see that. So just push that in like so, to the, as far as it'll go. And then this, you just poke it in, just twist it, and it'll kind of pop once it gets through there. And that's it. And then I cut the tube long enough to reach the plant, and that's it. So that'll go down into, as I have the rock wool, put my seeds in there, and then I'll just kind of push that down in there, and then put the tube right there so that it'll keep it watered. The tube's been kind of twisted for a little while, so that'll just keep it wet, and then that's it. So I'll go ahead and do all the ones. I have to get some more pebble. I have it at my house, the other house, to fill up the rest of these. And then I'll go ahead and start my seeds in the ones that I have for today and get that going. So yeah, it's pretty straightforward. The main thing with this is it just makes everything automatic, and when everything's automatic, it's a lot less work on you. You don't have to be out here weeding and doing all this stuff. So actually weeds won't grow in any of this. So basically your seeds will just grow. Once they get, you know, high enough and our last frost is over, I'll go ahead and move them out to the garden and find a new spot. So on the garden, it's automatic as well. I put in lines for all of them, and then I have the same kind of setup with these, but these are more like little sprinkler heads. So when you put these in the ground, they'll actually spray out water and water the whole bed. So that's how that works, you know. And I have them in these little ones too. Yeah. I didn't put in irrigation here, and so I had to rig up something, and I had a water line that I put here, so I ended up putting one of those timed water hose things we put on there, and at a certain time it'll click on and water everything, and it worked pretty good. These are better because I did a separate sprinkler head for each one of them, and so that whole line would go for 5 or 10 minutes or however long I had it, and then it would have all the pressure it needed to water those, because if you try to do all of them at once, you wouldn't have enough water pressure to actually spread the water. So these worked really well. So there's 4 different sprinkler heads for those, and then those wires actually run all the way to my barn, and I have a rain tree controller in there that I have plugged in to the solar, so that all works good. All right, so quick update. I got all these guys put in. These little straight connectors like this allow the water just to go straight through, and doesn't, there's no valve or anything in them, which I like better, because then you just get straight water. And then this actually allows it to drip wherever you want. I just had some of those left over. I don't have enough, but like these other connectors like this, these have like a little pressure valve. I don't know. The water doesn't flow out as quickly with these guys. So it really depends on what you want. You know, if you don't want something to get overwatered, and others you want more, then you could use something like that to help with that. But yeah, so okay, so now I actually have a broken pipe in my pump house from the freeze that comes out to the garden, and then it's supposed to freeze again on Friday, so I'm not going to fix that and run water out here because I have the whole garden drained. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a water hose from the house and try to fill up this container down here and then turn everything on. I have my aerator set on this timer, and I'm not going to run it 24/7 because I don't want there to be a drain on the solar. So I'm just going to have it come on for like a little bit throughout the day. And then this is the timer for the pump that will click on once a day to water all the plants. And then yeah, so I'm going to check the water and see if that's good. If that all works and I don't have any leaks, then I'll go ahead and get my seeds planted. I did, let's see, yeah, so this is what I'm looking at right now. I want to get my lettuce going. I got some spinach, I got some peppers, cauliflower, and kale. I want to get some broccoli going, but I don't have that with me right now. And then always put your labels. You think you'll remember, but you won't. Maybe once a pepper pops out, you're like, oh yeah, that's a jalapeno. But you know, I always forget. So anyway, all right. So let me get the water and see how that goes. All right, it's a moment of truth. You see it? This is the rock wool I had left over from last year. I have enough for today's project. So, get out my kale seeds. And the other thing that you can do too, is you can put more than one plant in each bucket. You could put 2 or 3, so that way you're using your space to its fullest. But it's nice. I got this. It's been a big project that I've been wanting to get done. So I don't think I've ever planted kale before. The lettuce seeds are super tiny, so I assume these are going to be the same way. Yeah. Teeny tiny. I don't know if you can see those. A couple each one. We have 5 kales. And just stick it in this little thing. They say that rock wool is probably the most expensive way to go, but it sure is nice working with it. You see how this makes it drip very specifically where you want it to go, so you can stick it in just like that and it just waters right there. I think I have a T where I might just put another hole in these so that they will get watered efficiently. I guess the one thing that you want to make sure is that this tube doesn't go outside of the bucket, because then the water won't drain back into the reservoir, and then you're basically draining all your water out into the floor. So when these fill up, like that one won't, but when it gets that much water in there, it actually feeds back into this tube. And then if let me see if I can get this to come. So you see the water is coming right back into the bucket. So it just recirculates. And that's that.